Welcome back to my screen. I'm not sure about sharing this, what I'm sitting with, and I'm gonna challenge myself to try mm, to share something that really struck me earlier today, and also some interesting synchronicities showed up earlier that I'm not gonna go into, but it was very striking. Um, so I'm gonna really let myself not get stressed and just let things show up as they want to. And I think it's especially important that this conversation that I can call a vertical conversation, since, yeah, I think that's right. Since since I'm not talking to another person in the sense that I can really take time to listen to my own responses in the sharing that I'm going to attempt to do. And saying that, I I notice I'm hesitating if this is even that I something that I want to do. But there's this maybe a way to frame it first is like the Mercury aspect from yesterday is kind of sparked in me when I was thinking or first listening to a conversation between Artem and the other guy. I think his name is Daniel Thorson, and they were talking about the Dharma. What was it called? Might misspell it, but the Dharma of no, the Dharma of avoidance, I think it was called. I'm not sure. I have to look this up, but I think it's the most recent podcast from Artem and I'm really appreciating his work and all the interesting talks he has with people who have been exploring spirituality and so many things. So I appreciate that, to listen to his podcast. And recently also, as I think I mentioned yesterday, I've dived into the archetypal astrology from Lawrence Hillman. I did read something from that yesterday. And it just keeps on opening up. So listening to this podcast with Artem and Daniel, what was very striking for me was that they talked about that work from, I think, Rob Barbea is his name, and also another guy that I don't. Yeah, sorry for not remembering, but I'm gonna put a link to the conversation that Artem had with Daniel, um, that I think is appropriate to do. Um, so we talked about a lot of things, but what was really salient for me was what they called the ideal parent protocol. And you will find more information about that in this podcast that I'm gonna put a link to. And so just listening to this, I decided to give it a try, and I think my my current or not progress, my process is better in the imaginal practices, especially in writing, that I've been doing for 6 months or so, and a little bit before that, not consistently, but being more consistent in a kind of a imaginal approach to writing, um, and trying to create mm, maybe yeah, maybe I'm hesitating to call it a mythology because that more like a fairy tale. I think it's more appropriate to call it fable, maybe. I'm not sure about the definitions here, but it doesn't matter. Point is that I'm being writing, and then it's continuingly to give me, especially when I write with kind of a seeing through different kind of archetypes, and trying to place my eye in different senses of the different archetypes. I also being inspired by the reading that I mentioned from Lawrence Hillman. So this was a long way to say that I get more and more engaged by this mythopoetic way of seeing and sensing into a more qualitative perception, something like that. But to get to the point that really stood out and struck me in the conversation with Artem and Daniel Thorson, it yeah, the ideal parent protocol. Why I mentioned all this imaginal approach to writing and stuff was to say that I might be or might have and continuously been able to cultivate some sense of the imaginal space. And I'm saying this because I tried, as I was going to say, I tried out this imaginal or this ideal parent protocol practice, and it really moved me. And a lot of stuff showed up. And then I became curious about how this, if at all, it can connect this to how this can be connected to this Chiron archetype and aspect in the archetypal psychology, sorry, astrology. And it seemed, it looks like after also doing some very fast, probably not accurate enough research with that brings a bad taste in my mouth, with the chat GPT research. But it might be also sometimes helpful to use it instead of like using Google that takes so much time finding the right resources. So it's not a very thorough research I've been doing, but I wanted to get kind of maybe some sense of direction if the Chiron aspect and the attachment style and the healing that can show up in using to deal with the attachment, the ideal parent protocol. So attachment is here, and the healing protocol can kind of make this attachment more kind of conscious, using the imaginal, because our mind can't differentiate between what's real and what's imaginal. Or yeah. So that makes for a very powerful practice to use, and it was in my first encounter with it earlier today. And so I said I was curious about the Chiron aspect. And and I'm not going to go into details about my personal relationship to the Chiron aspect of my personality, but I think there's of course this is also not only me, it's a universal aspect that we all have. And maybe a good way to say it is our core wound is usually located in the Chiron aspect or archetype. So in this connection, these two ideas, and yeah, two ideas and practices, it it's kind of feels like very. I'm gonna quote this from Lawrence Hillman's description of Chiron, the Chiron aspect. Um, let's see here. I'll just find yeah. Mm, yeah. I'm gonna see. It talks about, maybe this is a good. I'm not gonna read too much of it, and because of copyrights and stuff like that. But I'm gonna find a excerpt of maybe something that's to the point of what I'm trying to um, articulate. Mm. Mm. I mentioned this quite early in the book, and that makes sense because it's, of course, this is, yeah, and this is a very complex um, and very complex in a good sense, nuanced, and throughout the book is very beautiful written and very accessible. So I've read a lot, and coming back to this aspect of the Chiron. No, I'm not sure if that's how it's pronounced, but I'm saying it as I said it. It says that I can't decide right now. Okay. I'm gonna decide to read. Yeah, it says repeatedly throughout this book, I will remind you that it's important to bring all actors is his word for the archetypes. Repeatedly through this book, I will remind you that it's important to bring all actors into play. Over the years, I've found that the unexpected planet or planets, there can be several, often become the focus of a person's life. The native will spend most of his time learning about this part of himself, often by trial and error. The lost one, the unexpected planet, then become the key to his life. As I begin with the description of each planet, you will read many stories of clients with unexpected planets. The quality represented by disconnected planet become the holy grail, those most lacking and also most desired. As I said, this is, I'm going to see if I can try to, I'm reading this from a Kindle device, so I'm going to see if I can find the page. No. Yeah, yeah, but so there it's very interesting to look at this, the lost one, in this framing and yeah. Um, I'm just looking to see if there's something else I want to share. Yeah, again, I'm very grateful for this podcast with Artem Sen and Daniel Thorson that really brought attachment and the work of other people in the field, and also how this is connected to the larger cultural context that we're embedded in. And how this is also can be a very grounding and helpful way of seeing and integrating different or having a better relationship with different kinds of archetypal energies and be more conscious of that uh, in our everyday life. And also, what is really central to their discussion was how it's so easy to go into different coping strategies in the spiritual path, like intellectualizing and like that can seem like we're doing something very constructive and it can also be very constructive, but if there's no grounding in a deeper sense, or like if it's not held in a more grounded way, it can also be a way to over intellectualize and coming from a place that's not very helpful in relating to ourselves and to the world and to others. So, and I can certainly see that happening in me, that I know I'm not alone in that. So, yeah, I suddenly felt like a confession. Uh, but I feel comfortable with this, I think. Yeah, so might be uh, where is this? How long have I been talking? Not sure, but yeah, I'm gonna put a link to the talk that I listened to, and yeah, thank you for your attention and your patience. And if you happen to find this interesting or useful, you can feel free to comment, or I'm open for that. And I'm also gonna put a link to to my coaching practice offering, where the central stuff is coming into contact with our parts, and opening up some more space and orient towards different kind of qualities and how that can be I want to say essential part of our lives, and I think that's right. So I'm gonna leave a description to that also in the links below, and also another page that I'm developing, another site where I currently have some writing. But that's gonna be developed further, and it's a part of a symbolic approach to a more holistic way of seeing spirituality and how that might be applied to as a tool to facilitate different in different contexts, a kind of in an imaginal sense. Yeah. So I'm gonna put the link below to that site also. Yes, I think that's it for now, and I'm gonna do some more research about this combination between the Chiron aspect in archetypal astrology and also how this is related to in my current seeing is related to the ideal parent protocol practice. So thanks again for your attention, and see you soon.